queen of the plot. Hit that bell, cause the tea don't stop. She don't miss nothing, got the scoop on lock. Spilling all the tea while it's still too hot. Lakeysha Keysha, queen of the plot. Hit that bell, cause the tea don't stop.
Hey guys, we are back for another video. And guys, we're going to jump right into this video, honey, because I was minding my business and I was like, what in the world? We talking again about Britt Eady, and y'all listen, let's just talk about it. Britt Eady needs to get the entire hell off of this show. She needs to get off this show. She needs to go somewhere, preferably maybe back to street walking or whatever it was she was doing with all of the men's that all of the cast keep talking about. The fact of the matter is she doesn't belong on this show, and she is as tacky as they come. She is struggling like hell, and I watch this show because I want to see fabulousness. I don't want to see a struggling who can't even pay a $1,700 bill, a $9,000 bill. Girl, there's nothing fabulous about you, sweetheart. There's nothing fabulous about you or your husband. In fact, y'all need to go the hell away from me with this, okay? So we're going to get into Britt Eady, and we've talked at length and ad nauseum about this weirdo, but she's still on this show. So I'm going to take y'all back to where all of this BS began. Now, we originally had talked about Britt Eady, okay? She had this event in which she, had all these people to come, and them jokers was hungry because Britt Eady didn't have enough money to give everybody food. Well, girl, you could have did appetizers. You have to understand, when people drink alcohol, you don't necessarily have to give them a full meal, but you should have had a whole bunch of appetizers just circling. That's all they really need, is an appetizer. Now, for your party, yes, you are filming the Real Housewives of Atlanta. They are paying you. You should be able to afford a meal for those women because they are filming. And if you that broke, just get the hell off the show. Well, we talked about Infinity Events because Infinity Events was not happy about how she was actually portrayed on the show. Now, she is a Black woman with a small business, and we're going to get into it. Her name is Bella. Now, Bella wanted to address her appearance on the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Now, I've talked about this previously, but this is going to make sense when I'm done. Now, Bella says she was the event decorator. Okay, she says she fulfilled everything that she was asked to do and more. She also said there were a lot of scenes that were deleted. Of course, we already know that. She said it was Britt who decided to serve them people sample size, small bites, the cheapest of the cheapest. And she did this because of the budget. Hence, no money, little money, I ain't got it money. Okay. So she said she had no control over the food. Okay. She says, I am not an event planner or a caterer, decorator. Hello. I do tables, I do chairs, things like that. Okay. She said, Britt not only chose to give them little bitty miniature size food, baby, the lady said she didn't even fully get paid for the job. Okay. The lady didn't get paid. Britt still owes her. Now, I'm not going to go into this lady's claim because we kind of talked about it. But the reason why I brought it up, y'all, because Britt has now, her and her husband did it again. And we ain't saying no alleged because we got the documents to prove that Britt Eady husband, Mike, got sued by the country club. So she took her wretched tail on TV, showed us this event, and didn't even have the money to pay the people. Let's get into it, y'all. So she didn't pay the people. So I was minding my business, and I came across this video, and I said, let me research, because I don't know if this guy was being honest, but his name is Giorgio. So let's get into his video. This was posted on Instagram.
Britt, if you were going to skip out on the entire tab at the country club, at least you could have just gone ahead and fed the whole room. Actually, the country club filed a civil lawsuit against Mike for skipping out on the tab. A little birdie did tell me this morning that there was an actual document out there that did show that the country club did in fact go after Mike for that event that we just watched. That was horrendous, but I guess they felt like they didn't need to pay for it. So here's the document, and you'll notice that the date of the event coincides with Bella's text messages. The dates all around that coincide with this. This is obviously the event that we saw. It was a golf event, they called it, and a banquet. Okay, so it was about almost 10 grand worth of services and food, and now there's some interest added. So we're looking at about 10K that they skipped out on. And this document does show that on December 3rd, someone went to go serve Mike, but he wasn't home, and whoever was home, they suspect would be his wife, but she refused to provide a name. So not only do you owe Bella and Infinity Events $1,750 that you have yet to respond to her request for payment, you now have this side of it where you have the country club that you did not privately reserve the space. You added more plates, but only to the media and bloggers that were sitting at the table because you didn't want them to write anything horrible about your event. And then you just go ahead and skip on out. You don't even pay for it. You're just like, whatever. Now, there's no other documents that give any further updates to this situation. So I'm not sure if Mike reached out to the country club directly and worked it out, but if there's nothing outside of these documents around this situation. I mean, if you're broke, just say that.
Now, his name is Giorgio Says. That's his name. And I'm with him. If you broke, just say that. So if you broke, you ain't got it. Just say that because, girl, now he mentioned Infinity Events. And we talked about Infinity Events. Now, Infinity Events was the other lady who actually, she did the decorating, in which I've already, we mentioned her. Now that's this lady. She is still owed a balance, she's saying, of about $1,700. She didn't get paid either. Okay. Well, honey, let's get into this document. I got it straight from the court. When I saw Giorgio Says video, I said, let me go look it up, because if I can look it up, I know that it's real. So it's in fact real. Mike was sued, and here's a document. I had to redact it because it has addresses and, phone numbers and emails, and, it has Brits and all of their information. So I had to put my logo all over it to cover that up so you guys can't see it. Because, I didn't know that people really want to know where these people live. I don't know why, but, there are weirdo people out there. So I'm going to read the actual document. So this document was filed 9/13 of 2024. That is the filing date. Now, this is from the country club, and it is to her husband, which I assumed his name was Michael, but apparently they have Mike on here. So I don't know if his real legal name is Mike or Michael, but it says amount owed for contracted golf outing and banquet held at Horseshoe Bend Country Club on July 19th, 2024. So keep in mind, this happened in July, and they gave them about 2 months. Apparently they didn't receive payment. So they filed this judgment. This is, well, I shouldn't say judgment. This is a statement of claim. So they're claiming that, Mike owes, and they want to sue him. Okay. The amount of the claim is $9,990. And if you guys can see it, is 60 cents. Like I said, I had to, cover up, information that was, being seen on there. So I have to cover that up. Now they also, they're saying that the principal balance is about $9,906, and that interest of $148.50. Now, this was filed in, the Superior Court of Fulton County. So this is in fact a real case. Like I said, when I originally saw it, I didn't know if it was true or not. So I said, let me just go look it up myself. I mean, it's very simple to do. Like I said, I struggled originally because I thought his name was Michael. And I said, let me just look under Mike. So that event that, we have been talking about is in fact an event that the country club is saying that these fools did not even pay for. So isn't that crazy? You had a whole event and didn't even pay the bill. Now, I ain't rich, but baby, $9,900. If you couldn't afford it, why did you have the event? And this is what I've been telling y'all about this girl, Britt. She is lying. She's living a lie, and she is not keeping it a buck. So she owes the Horseshoe Bend Country Club. Horseshoe Bend Country Club need their money, okay? And that place is in Roswell, because I had to look it up, which is, she actually lives in Roswell, which I'm gonna show y'all a picture of it. I have a picture of it. So let me show y'all a picture, because this is exactly what we saw on the episode. So this is the Horseshoe Bend Country Club, what they call it, a retreat or whatever you call it, honey. But this is it. Looks really nice. As y'all can see, when we watched the episode, this was exactly what they showed. It looks like maybe they had one of those, I can't remember, where it kind of fly over everything. But they are suing Mike. So I would imagine that when this event happened, that Mike, somehow put his information on there as the responsible party, and they are being sued. So this is real. There's no alleged here. Britt Eady and her husband, Mike, did not pay these folks, and they want their money, honey. They want their money. So it is definitely real. Like I originally said, this is the country club, which is, like I said, it's a spectacular of what we saw. Now, we didn't really get to see all of this. Obviously they would, only show us what they want us to see. But here is the document. This is real. This is real deal. And like I originally stated, they said the event happened in July. Well, they filed this about 2 months later. I don't know if they've paid it. Probably not. I mean, if you're going to let somebody file a judgment against you, you're probably not going to pay it either, right? So this is real, okay? And all I got to say is I tried to tell y'all, this girl needs to get off this show. She's not fit for this show. I mean, she may be, fit for a reality. I just don't think that she's fit for this show. I think she's struggling like hell, and she's trying to pretend to be something that she's not. I mean, I think she's a pretty girl and everything. She's just not a fit for this show. We don't want to see starter wives or whatever the hell she calls herself. But baby, you ain't even got it, okay? I don't want to see nobody that don't even got $10,000 on television, like trying to say you're living a spectacular life. You struggling worse than a lot of other people, because girl, I mean, you're on this show and you're having parties that you can't even afford to have. She tells us that she owns her property, which I got to look into that, because there's a lot of things with regards to this Britt Eady and her creepy husband, that we try to tell y'all about her, that things are not adding up. But there y'all have it. Britt Eady and her husband, well, they are married, right? So what he owes, she owes. But this judgment actually has the husband's name on it, and they want their money. So it is real. Y'all let me know what y'all think.